Before we jump into the agenda that was sent around, there is a board matter that I wanted to talk about and share with everybody and address. As you all know, at the end of last year, we approved a new term limit policy. And regrettably, we do have a board member who is caught up within that term limit definition. And that is Bill Roedy. Bill, of course, was quite vocal about the need to have leading governance practices, and is a champion of good governance himself in some of his other boards that he's on. And so he came to me and said, Dave, I'm in violation of this term limit policy, so I need to do the right thing. And so it's with heavy heart, very heavy heart, that I announced this will be Bill's last ASL board meeting as a board member. It's unfortunate that we can't raise a glass to celebrate Bill, but I do want to say in person, but I want to say a few words about Bill, who, as I think many of you know, is the longest serving board member in the history of ASL. So you can all say you were there with him, because it's true. So I want to talk a little history, Bill, if that's okay, Alex.
Sure.
Bill's first official business with ASL was in 1994, when he spoke at the ASL graduation. It was actually the first of 2 times he did that. The other was in 2010. He then joined the board in 1997. I'm not sure, it might be actually before Kavi was born. I don't know, Kavi, I'm close, right?
About a decade before I was born, Dave.
Yes, exactly. So he was there. And his impact on the board and for the ASL community has been significant over these 24 years. As you know, today, Bill sits on trustee affairs. And for those who have, if you had any doubt, Bill, yes, voted for every one of us to come on this board because he's been on trustee affairs for a long time. So without Bill's support, we would not be here. And of course, he's been on the investment committee. And if you ask Chris Whitman, it's because of Bill's astute investing why our endowment continues to go up in these troubled times.
Absolutely.
And of course, he's been a real champion of our diversity initiatives. He was the board representative on the Cultural Competency Council. He was co-chair of its predecessor, the Inclusion, Cultural Competency and Equity Committee, affectionately known as ICE. He co-chaired the Diversity and Admissions Committee. Importantly, served on the Strategic Planning Committee for the 2010 Strategic Plan, which of course was very instrumental in kicking off a lot of our broad diversity initiatives. Thought I might put some of Bill's tenure in numbers. Bill and I estimate that it's been roughly 250 board and committee meetings he participated in. 3 capital campaigns, numerous, I would say 24 annual funds, 12 auctions. There was also, by the way, a record auction lot of tickets to the MTV Video Music Awards. He and Alex very kindly hosted approximately 12 dinners and or other events at their lovely home. One of which, by the way, Bill was rumored to be wearing the ASL Eagle mascot costume. I cannot confirm or deny that, but that is a rumor I've heard. Alex, do you want to help us here?
Yeah, no, I think he did wear it.
All right.
Stole it.
Well, Bill, just so you know, you don't have to be on the board to break out that costume again, so we might come calling.
Thank you.
Bill's board colleagues have described Bill in many kind ways. Bright, thoughtful, creative, of course, strategic, empathetic, wise, and kind, and of course, unwavering in his drive for diversity. People also say Bill's fun. I heard cheeky. And While not from his kids, we've heard, yes, Bill is cool. He's definitely cool. My favorite one, though, was, and particularly relevant to us and our mission, Bill epitomizes what it means to be a courageous global citizen. Outside of ASL, yes, Bill did have a life outside of ASL. He led a full, vibrant, and impactful life. As many of you know, Bill's the former chairman and CEO of MTV Networks International, where he and his team built a global operation with, I think, Bill, 200 channels, 20 brands in over 200 countries. Prior to joining MTV, Bill was VP at HBO for 10 years. I don't know if everyone knows this about Bill. You can kind of see the way he holds himself. Earlier in life, he was an officer in the US Army, where he qualified as an airborne and Army Ranger, correct, Bill? He had decorated service in Vietnam, where he received the Bronze Star, Air Medal, and the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry, I think with a Silver Star, Bill. And also commanded nuclear bases in Italy as part of NATO, where he received the Meritorious Service Medal. In 1998, Bill was named ambassador for UN AIDS. He addressed the UN General Assembly on several occasions regarding the AIDS pandemic. He was a founding member and chair of the Global Business Coalition on HIV and AIDS. Later, he chaired, this was in 1998 and 2002, and later chaired the advisory board. In 2005, the UN Secretary General, Kofi Annan, appointed Bill the founding chair of the Global Media AIDS Initiative Leadership Committee. He's also the founding chair of the MTV Staying Alive Foundation, which provided young people with the resources to fight HIV and AIDS at the grassroots level. In 2010, he was appointed as the first ever envoy for the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunizations, Gavi, and he joined the board in 2015, later becoming its chair. I mean, it seems incredibly obvious today, but Bill, you were certainly ahead of all of us as it relates to pandemics. Bill's active in a wide range of other global health, educational, and business and geopolitical initiatives. In truth, Bill, there's too many to list them all now, but I do want to acknowledge that you are also a Churchill Fellow appointed by the Churchill National Museum. Not surprising, Bill has won many awards for all of his great work. He's been inducted into the Cable Hall of Fame as a pioneer of the US cable industry. He received a Business Leadership Award from US President Bill Clinton. He won the International Emmy Founders Award, AmFAR's Award of Coverage, Doctors of the World Leadership Award, and the UN Correspondents Association Global Citizen of the Year, which was presented by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. And in 2020, he was selected as a distinguished graduate of West Point. Finally, what I know Bill is most proud of, his wonderful family. Now, we all know it's led by his lovely, warm, and extremely patient wife, Alex.
With bad eyesight.
Alex, thank you very much for sharing Bill with us for all these years, for offering your wonderful home to so many functions, and for all of your own personal and direct support to ASL and the community. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bill and Alex have 4 kids. Many of you know them. Noah, class of 14, Liam, class of 16, Rocky, class of 20, and Tiger,
One more.
and a Tiger, class of 22. And once Tiger graduates, they will be proud parents of 4 ASL lifers. And that is a big commitment to ASL. And I will add, and John Robinson, this will bring a smile to your face, 56 years of ASL tuition. So thank you very much. And by the way, don't feel obligated to stop paying tuition after Tiger graduates. So I think everybody has a glass.
Oh,
So if you do, please lift it now.
this is,
Bill, on behalf of the board, the SLT, and the whole ASL community, thank you for your committed service. Thank you for your extraordinary leadership. Thank you for your sage advice over all these years. Thank you for your deep, deep caring. And thank you for your devoted friendship. Cheers.
Wow.
wow. Had I known, there'd be a glass of champagne here.
Yeah. For
Hey,
those,
Bill.
yes,
And
sir.
before you go, we have a few pictures we'd like to share.
Oh,
Joanne is going to share them with everybody.
you are.
So that was at Corinne's final event, if you remember,
Hmm.
when Bill had some nice words.
Mm.
No? When we hosted John McCain, you know, so there's, I guess people know, there's talk that John McCain's wife could actually,
Yeah.
right, could actually be the UK ambassador.
Wow, really? That would be awesome.
Would that be great?
Be great.
Bill sharing some wisdom, maybe collecting a little wisdom, Bill?
More of that, yes.
Art class.
There they
Oh,
are. Great smiles.
The bearded man.
Bill, come on, share this with us. We'd like to hear it from you.
If I had to point to the philosophy that helped me to overcome the obstacles, oh, this is from my commencement speech. It was to break the rules. Sorry.
All right, Bill, please, over to you.
Unbelievable, Dave. Thank you. That's, as they say in England, OTT. Some of that's true, by the way. Anyway, those of you who haven't met my wonderful wife, I call her Shotzi. She calls me Shotzi because she's German-Austrian, and we're planning for the days when we won't remember our names. So we'll call each other Shotzi. Dave, thank you again. I'm going to just, you know, we have such a big agenda, and it's such a good agenda with the Social Justice Council. I'll try and be quick, but I do want to say a couple things, and so I'll talk fast, I guess. First of all, on term limits, I mean, you said it, Dave. I strongly supported it. I was really a champion. I got the fact that it would impact me, but I think it's super important to respect the integrity of term limits. And by the way, there's no one, as you said, no one more eligible for term limits than me. You know, I thought about using a recount for my number of years, but then I was reminded it's not even close. So, you know, it was a landslide. But I gotta say, while stepping down, it's monumentally sentimental for us. But it's definitely the right thing, everything, and which proves that two things can be true at once. So just a couple things, Dave, if you'll allow. First, a big thank you to the board, I mean, obviously, for allowing me to serve. You know, words don't convey properly, they don't come easily, but immense appreciation, for sure, honor, privilege, and even these words don't seem enough, but all of it, the mission-driven culture, and as you said, Dave, the friendships, I treasured every moment. Secondly, in all my years, and this really gives me great pleasure to say, the board has never been stronger. ASL has never been stronger. And it's especially true this year when you've seen the challenges that we faced, both with COVID, Black Lives Matter, DEI, and both are on the agenda today. And throughout, you have shown urgency, but also really thoughtfulness. So in my view, the board has never been stronger. The power of the ASL community, which is really quite powerful, is powerfully represented by you, the board. And Dave, I'm going to say it again. You know, you and Aaron side by side, you're the perfect team. You're the perfect leadership. I've worked with 4 chairs, by the way, vice chairs over the years. This is the best. And I'm just going to say a quick one about Dave. I first met Dave, we did both on the Scrubs, and many of you have been there on cold, rainy, wet days. Dave was the baseball coach, and he coached my son, our son, Rocky. And, you know, when I saw his leadership and his winning spirit, it's the only team that any of our children have ever been on that have actually won. So, David, thank you for instilling the winning spirit and you know, your leadership. I saw it right away. That was what, well over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And you know, we've seen it over and over. Most recently this summer when you called board meetings impromptu to get us through COVID. It was really quite something. And Aaron, you've been side by side with us as a family for what, 20 years? Our kids went to play dates and
Hebrew classes all the way back. My God.
yes. So thank you for your wisdom as well, Aaron. So the other thing is, I just want to make a quick thank you to the committees, which I affectionately call the engine rooms of the board. I've never seen better leadership. It's amazing, really, the chairs and all the members. And Dave, you said it, but I'll just repeat my own experiences. I started a diversity 10 years ago, and we got 12% over the finish line. That was probably the biggest accomplishment. But I got to say, looking at the committee of DEI now and that leadership, it's a whole new energy level. It's going to take it to a whole, and sensitivity, it's going to bring it to a whole new benchmark, I know. And I do want a quick shout out to Rames, because he was one of the original force on the Diversity Council and really was responsible, in my mind, for passing all those measures through early on. Investment, you said it, Dave, but it's nothing. I just hitched my coattails to Chris. The trustee affairs, in many ways, has given me such great enjoyment because, as Dave says, I've seen you at the beginning and had the privilege of seeing your life story throughout the process, and resulting in what I feel is, again, strongest board in the entire time I've been with ASL. And I shout out to Stacy and Stephanie, not only for the term limit study, but everything they're doing for trustee affairs. And you'll see shortly, I think, even tonight perhaps, an example of the amazing pipeline that is ready to go, you know, with your scrutiny, of course. So finally, I just want to say also on Robin, your team, you and the senior leadership team. So there's only been 7 heads of school, believe it or not, 1 interim in the entire history of ASL. I've worked with 4. They've all been good, but this is the best one. And this is the best leader for the times that we have. We couldn't ask for anything better than what Robin and her team have done. And I'll just give you one quick example. In the summer, we were all there, and she was ahead of the curve, ahead of all the other schools that I could tell, with a plan for reopening. She had some pushback from us, but she kept her bold and brave approach. And meanwhile, from what I can tell, a protocol that's kept infections in low single digits, I believe, Robin, and with transparent communication. You know, the latest email was just today. We talk about it a lot as a family. It's a remarkable undertaking, a remarkable accomplishment. And the very last thing I want to say is that I want to answer the question why I stayed on the board so long. Rocky asked me that this past weekend. And this is probably the hardest thing to say. It's not an exaggeration to say that ASL has been at the center of our family for 25 years. It's literally in the center. When the new art building was finished, we gathered together as a family and looked through the window across Circus Road and looked at St. John's and Lizzie's, where they were born. And you see a lot of time flashing by when you know they were born and raised, and then school, lifer, and graduate. Then we leave the art building, and this is such a dramatic visual for us. We walk past ASL to our home, which is 2 to 3 blocks on the other side. So it forms a perfect triangle with ASL literally right in the center. And I've often said, and I think some of you have heard, that I was so taken by ASL when I was introduced to it in 1994, that we decided to have children. First, I had to find a wife.
Yeah, well, we only had kids because of ASL, obviously.
But first step was finding a wife who obviously has very bad eyesight and occasionally bad judgment in men. But what is really true is that there were several options for us to move to the States. We decided to stay here, like many of you. Aaron, you just said it the other night. You're staying here because of ASL. And I even started a third career here with Global Health. So, I know for all of us, we have such busy lives and careers, but I think it's safe to say that for all of us, ASL stands out. It's resilient, not only in the early days of economic downturns, but also we went through a terrible terrorism threat period, and of course now COVID. And, I'm going to say it, it sounds perhaps maybe a little corny, but that's us. It stands as a beacon, ASL does. It's on a hill, if you will. It's occupies the high ground, and it's not only the mission and the core values which guide the kids, but they also guide us, the core values especially. On the front page of today's Financial Times, they did that little block on most trusted professions. Teachers were only behind healthcare workers as the most trusted. And as we reflect on what's going on in the world, there's such an era of distrust of institutions. ASL represents trust in so many ways. And, I think we do everything we can to protect and safeguard and nurture that trust. So I'm going to end it by saying we owe so much to ASL, wouldn't you say, Shansi? It's been our center, literally. It's spiritually. It's defined our life in so many ways. And I'm going to take 30 more seconds to do an extension of Dave's fun facts that the kids put together this past weekend. You got the board and committee meetings right, Dave, thank you. 4 heads of schools, 7 total, as I said earlier, 4 board chairs, best ever in both cases. The capital campaigns brought a high school remake. It brought the pool and art center, first endowment ever. So the school has really evolved and grown in so many ways. The annual funds, as you said, the auctions, by the way, the commencement speeches, the first one was probably the biggest sleeper of all. I actually saw the students yawning during the speech. It was about geopolitics. When I came back in 2010, we did Lessons of Life, a little bit better, but I not recommended viewing for anyone unless you're looking for a sleep aid. You got the number of school years, Dave, thank you. The Parent Teachers Conference. Oh, the 36 Halloween parades. I don't know if you had that. Rugby, track, cheerleading, sports mom, grade rep. We forget all the titles that Chauncey had over here. Classroom presentations, 4 career days. And I'm glad you didn't put this one in, Dave. At least three open campus cancellations for our kids.
Yeah.
An unknown number of late to classes. Sorry, Robin. In fact, we're both on the record now as saying we are sorry. I think we have. And then one very, very difficult discipline meeting with the high school dean. Actually, it was 2 high school deans.
Yeah, they got us, both of them got us at some point.
They both got us.
They caught up with us, yeah.
And by the way, they both handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly. So we're not good at goodbyes. This is one of our least favorite things to say, right? But we want also to extend, Dave, with your permission, I think you're okay with this, in the spring, late spring, hopefully we'll be free to do this, is to have a gathering at our house, an event, so we can properly celebrate and properly say goodbye to you all. So that's our little corner of the triangle that we want you to be part of. Anyway, in the meantime, what an honor. Thank you. What a journey. I know you don't like the word journey. What a voyage. What a voyage. So we're going to continue to be there long after being a trustee. And with that, see you at the drop off. Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
Bill, I'm going to stand for you.
Can we unmute to clap, Dave?
Oh, you can unmute
Can
to
we
clap.
unmute to clap properly?
Unmute.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm gonna stand up, you can see my track pants.
Thank you.
Take a picture of you guys.
Got it?
Okay, over to you, Dave. Thank you.
Dave, thank you for allowing me to sit in on this.
Pleasure.
21 years, I finally made a board meeting.
And she actually had something to do with the birth of the children. Too.
Oh, she did, yes.
Tiny.
And Ramos, thank you for the backdrop, the screensaver.
And Jody, fair warning, there might be grandkids. Never know.
That would be
Bill,
good.
Bill, look at Nikos' screen. He's got one too.
Oh, I do see it. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you.
Oh, that's great.
Follow Ryan's lead.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Nice to see
Bye,
you.
Alex. See you soon.
Thank you, Bill.
Oh, we got through it without crying.
Great.